John Deaton comes out and says, I told you so, talking about XRP strategic reserves. Merrick comes out and says billions are moving on RLUSD. Did he mean to say millions? We're going to clear that up. We'll talk XRP price action along with Mica. Have regs brought in the cash to create pumperonis in the crypto market? I don't know, you jabronis. You tell me. Happy Monday.
I say lots of naughty things, so here's your warning.
You keep using this word jabroni, and it's awesome.
Yes, it is, my always sunny fans. What's up? We've got a mixture of red and green up on the screen. We've got the July 4th weekend coming up, which gives us what? Low volume going into the weekend. But we also have some news. Mica is 1 year old. Deaton is telling us I told you so. Reese Merrick is talking about RLUSD processing 10 billion in daily volume. Hold on, let me look. I think he means millions. We're going to correct that here. But before we get into all that, your comments come first, you jabronis. Ugh. X-Man Face says, my American wife says that I always overperform. I'm English. Well, hello from across the pond. She'll be expecting a big bang on 4th of July, and she's gonna get it. Well done, sir. Love what you've done there with the humor. Darth Raider says, thank you, Klaus, for clarifying that the charts mean absolutely nothing. It's not that the charts mean absolutely nothing. It's that the charts don't mean everything. See, charts are part of the puzzle, right? Charts tell you what to expect from previous price expectations. Charts cannot predict if Elon and Trump want to spat at each other. They don't predict if Israel and Iran want to throw things at each other. But charts are part of the tools in the toolbox, right? You go with news, you go with some macros, you go with a little bit of rate stuff. You know what I'm saying. I've been saying this for a long time. Everyone's been calling me stupid. Haven't heard any other channel say what you just said. Yeah, I don't put a lot of stock into charts because, like, some of those people are like, ooh, Bollinger Bands, we're going to do this and this. Look, at any time, Israel and Iran can just blow up the whole Middle East and the whole market could tank. Charts aren't going to tell you that. Trick's hanging out with us and says, happy melting Monday, Klaus. 37 degrees Celsius. Sweaty, melting ball sacks. Better than melting faces. Bitcoin's in at 107. Oh, let's just do price later. All right, first things first. Micah Regulations mark 1 year. Successes and challenges in the EU stablecoin space. Now, I remember a lot of people in YouTube and a lot of people on Twitter that said, oh, once Mica happens, we're gonna boom. Well, the last time I checked, every freaking crypto out there, their big boom that they got came from the US election. Do you want to have some fun? Well, yes, of course you do. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. What was that? Yes, you do want to have some fun. So let's pick some random cryptos. Okay, let's pick some SWI. Okay, let's go into SWI and let's look at the chart. Let's go to the 1 year chart because you know Micah's been around for a year. And when did SWI have its biggest pump? Right at the November election. Damn, Micah, you didn't help us out with that. What about XLM? When did XLM have its biggest pump? Well, they did not have pump when Mica went live, but they had a pump when the U.S. elections happened. Let's pick one more. Let's pick Aptos. You know, Aptos is a piece of crap. Maybe that's not a good one to pick, but let's pick it anyways. When did Aptos pump? Yeah, Aptos had a little bit of pump in November, but then it failed. Aptos is a piece of shit. My point is this. Mica's been around for a year, and it hasn't done shit to bring juicy price action, has it? Now, has it regulated the markets? Yes, it's helped. I think we can all agree with that. Now, people have said, oh, when Mica comes in, Tether's going to be dead. Hold on, let me look real quick here at the old Crypto-Roni charts. Give me a second. And where is Tether? Oh, it's right there at number 3 with a market cap of $157 billion. So again, Mica didn't crush Tether, but remember a lot of people out there were trying to sell you on this, oh, Tether's gonna fall apart. When Mica comes in, all money is gonna come in. Melting faces, grown men will cry. No. That's just more hopium being sold to you. Now, some of the cool things about Mica, though, is it has helped out with stablecoins, but there's a problem. The problem is people are still launching a bunch of crap that's not Mica compliant, and they're having problems regulating it. Yet, despite this progress Busman warned that Mica's goal level of a playing field remains a risk. He pointed to a growing loophole. Oh man, loopholes and regs? Come on now, Klaus. Certain stablecoin issuers based outside the EU continue to import tokens into the European market without being held to Mica's compliance. Oh, dang, girlfriend. This creates a massive backdoor. I wonder if my wife's going to answer my messages. One that undermines consumer protection and gives offshore issuers an unfair advantage. So remember, anytime you create a rule or a regulation, there are going to be people out there that try to what? Find the loopholes. Now you see what I'm saying here. So, did Mica help out with regs? Yes, it did. Did Mica bring a lot of money in? Hell no, girlfriend. Did Mica kick off before the United States' regs? Yes, they did. Did Mica create melting faces? No, they didn't. Now, here's the thing, though, okay? Mica is a good start, but you need revisions. Looking forward, Busman urged regulators to close these gaps. He called for clarity, particularly around reserve requirements for foreign-issued stablecoins, warning that a failure to address such issues could undermine Mica's core mission of safeguarding EU consumers and ensuring fair competition. So, Mica's been around for a year. It didn't help with injecting a bunch of liquidity in there. So anyone that sold you on Mica, being the thing that helps crypto, well, they were full of fucking shit. All right. Ripple exec says RLUSD processes $10 billion in daily volume. That's a fucking lie. Let me share with you. RLUSD's market cap is $500 million. Its volume is currently $29 million. Yeah, someone was pumping the hopium. Let's learn. Ripple's senior executive officer, Reese Merrick, makes a daring claim about Ripple stablecoin, emphasizing that it clears 10 billion transaction in daily volume. This was with an interview with Finance World magazine at the Dubai FinTech Summit. Here's the problem. He meant to say millions, but he kept saying billions. Here's the best part. This raises questions about Merrick's claim that RLUSD processes 10 billion in daily transactions on a market cap of roughly 400 million. Yeah, how can you process 10 billion a day in transactions when your market cap is 400 million? Vet clarified his attempt to justify the 3.65 trillion analyzed volume is purely hypothetical. Notably, there's a likelihood that Merrick intended to declare RLUSD daily volume in millions rather than billions. No, it is in millions. So, Reese Merrick putting a little bit of hopium out there, huh? My guy, whatever you're smoking, make sure you pass it on with the rest of the Crypto with Klaus crowd. Look, whether it's a slip of the tongue, an innocent mistake, there's a big difference between you saying RLUSD processes 10 million a day in volume versus 10 billion a day in volume. And if you do an interview and you constantly keep saying billion when you mean to say million, that could be fairly misleading. Luckily for us, we have stats that show us exactly what the volume is. In fact, on decentralized exchanges in the last 24 hours, we've had 11 million, about 12 million in volume. On centralized exchanges, we've had about 16.6 million in volume. So you're quite a few billion short, Reese Merrick. Now, Deaton is telling us, I told you so. Deaton also told us he would beat Warren. We know how that worked out. XRP advocate John Deaton breaks silence on Wall Street, copying strategies model. Let's just go to Deaton Street. Deaton, several years ago, when I said eventually I expected XRP ETFs, some people laughed. Well, we also laughed when you said you would beat Warren, but that's just how it is. I said Wall Street is too greedy not to do it. I also knew people would copycat Saylor and implement a BTC strategy. There's no way people on Wall Street are going to sit back and watch Saylor do it alone. I also said there would be companies that would implement the Saylor BTC strategy and do it with XRP. There are currently 60 to 100 companies implementing a BTC strategy. We now have 5 companies, and there's 8 companies right now, implementing an XRP strategy. He lists them right here. Vivo Power, Worksport, Hyperscale, Weebus, Wellgistics. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. And they've got some for Sol. Just throwing it out there. Is that helping XRP price? No. Zoom out. What has been the biggest thing right now for XRP price? The November election. Now, That being said, we can say, though, that all the players in terms of BTC, their strategic reserve buying, is definitely helping the floor of BTC. We can also say with confidence that all the players gobbling up BTC are helping BTC constantly touch all-time highs. BTC right now is only 4% away from all-time high, right? We constantly see players buying billions of Bitcoin. This company's buying a $500 million. This company's buying 500 million. Like, you get my point. BTC is 4% away from all-time high. XRP is 43% away from all-time high. ETH is 49% away from all-time high. So the point here is that while it might not cause a price reaction right now, it does seem to be helping the floor of BTC, and it does seem to be pushing BTC up and up and up in a gradual sense, which is good. So Deaton is right. Yes, there are people that got into the BTC strategic reserve. Yes, there are people out there that saw the opportunity with XRP. Exchanges love what? Love making money. So if exchanges see that a lot of people like to trade BTC and they see that a lot of people like to trade XRP, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to launch XRP ETFs. Why do you think Wisdom Tree wants to do it? Because they can make money on it. Why does Franklin Templeton do it? Because they want to make money on it. So if something is hot, spicy, naughty, and relevant, aka a lot of volume in the crypto world, they're going to launch products on it. Why do you think so many people want to get into an XRP ETF? Because they do so much more volume on XRP than they do with what? With other ones out there. Okay, look at XRP's volume. XRP's volume in the last 24 hours, 2.18 billion. You heard me correctly, 2.18 billion. Let's go to Cardano. What's Cardano ADA's volume? 750 million. Okay, not so bad. Let's pick another one that we like. What's Stellar's volume? You don't hear a lot about ETFs with XLM, do you? Well, no shit, because their volume's only 157 million, right? So again, who are you going to launch products with? When you go to a store, do they launch a lot of products of things that sell? Or do they launch a lot of products of things that don't sell? Think about where you live in the United States, Los Estados Unidos, right? What do we have everywhere? We have vape stores everywhere. Do you know why we have vape stores everywhere? Because the markup on those products is insane, so there's a lot of profit, and a lot of people are freaking buying it. Do you see a lot of stores popping up about super veggie produce? No, you don't, because we got a lot of fatties hanging out in the United States. So, you launch products where there's a lot of excitement, where there's a lot of juice, where there's a lot of volume. If something has a lot of volume like XRP, you're going to launch products in relationship to that. So there you go. Now, in terms of XRP price, we're holding strong in the friend zone at 220 right now. Let's go to those candlesticks. I like going to the candlesticks, not because candlesticks and charts are tell-all, but I kind of like to see where we're hanging out. Here's why. What are we seeing with this right here? You see this little gap? That's that little Israel-Iran spat thing that we had going on. We kind of pumped up from that, right? Zoom out and you could see we are completely range bound between that 210 and 230. We are in the friend zone right now for XRP. So if you eliminate the statistical outliers of this buy zone action that happened right here, where is XRP? 205, sometimes 235, but mostly 210 to 220. Super, super range bound. Go to the daily chart, right? Zoom in just a little bit right here, and you see what? Oh, more of the same for the last several months. Yeah, you've had a little bit of an outlier right here in May. Only lasted a few days. Yeah, you had another outlier here in April, lasted a few days. But the majority of XRP price has been between 230 and 210. We've been stuck in the friend zone. So, if we get more players buying into strategic reserves for XRP, that could help start pushing us up like we've seen with Bitcoin. But it's going to take some time. You see billions and billions and billions of dollars being thrown at Bitcoin. And yet Bitcoin still had some scary times in April where we hit 76,000. That's very scary. That's like 30,000 away from where we're at now. But that being said, BTC is always close to touching all-time highs. BTC is doing a darn good job of holding that floor support at 100,000. XRP gets more players out there in the strategic reserve world. Maybe we can move this friend zone from that 210 to 230 mark for maybe the 230 to 250 mark. But that's going to take some time because these companies that Deaton has mentioned here, the Vivo Power, the Worksport, they all have said, look, we plan on doing this up to X amount. We're waiting for them to start buying. And we're also waiting for regs and rates to come down, which would help the buying even more. So now we have to look at this and go, okay, Mica didn't deliver the juice that a lot of people wanted. You got people out there still pumping the hopium saying billions instead of millions. Don't worry, we'll call you out on your bullshit. We got the charts to prove it. Bitcoin, we can definitely say is getting support the more players are buying. It's not making it completely foolproof from crashes as we've seen in April, because remember, MicroStrategy and other players have bought a whole bunch before April, and yet it still crashed to 76,000 and lost like 30-something% in a very short amount of time. So it doesn't isolate you completely, but boy, does it give you a darn strong floor, doesn't it? And a floor that appears to be increasing and getting stronger and stronger, and Bitcoin is closer to touching all-time highs than any other frickin' crypto out there. So what is it going to take to get more players to buy that XRP strategic reserve? Well, we definitely need something juicy to spark that interest. And I think part of that juiciness is going to come from the riders, because the players that are buying BTC, they feel comfortable buying it because it's looked at as a commodity. So once we get the regs and the classifications, because right now we still don't know who's going to regulate crypto. Is it the CFTC or is it the SEC? Or is it the Snoop D-O-double-G? I don't fucking know. But we know that the real money has been dictated by the United States. The biggest pumps in crypto have come from what? United States elections. When Jerome Powell and the Fed come on the mic and start talking about rates, the whole world watches, right? That's my point. The U.S. money flow, as much as we freaking hate it, is key. Mica was important, but Mica didn't bring the juicy money in. Mica was good, but it wasn't great, right? So, we need something big. Regs are going to help. Rates are going to help. And boy, would it be juicy if they built something on XRPL that all of us want to use, not just speculative action like trading, like on Coinbase or Kraken or Gemini or wherever you trade your stuff on. Choo-choo. What? I'm sorry. I couldn't hear you. Your mic isn't loud enough. Mine is plenty loud. Choo-choo what? Choo-choo biznachos.